Hi, welcome back to Geekified. If Groundhog Day was cranked up on all the steroids in the world, you would get this film. Boss level. Boss level. Frank Grillo. Mel Gibson. My eyes are still on fire from watching this film. Slight giveaway, obviously, because you can tell that I liked it. But we're going to break it down a little bit. So we've got Nathan. Hi, Nathan.
Hi, guys.
So, jeez, what a film. I have no other way to. I'm not joking. The intro to this episode was exactly how I would describe the film. Groundhog Day, steroids, just crank it up, just go absolutely crazy, balls out, and then this is what you get. It's just mental, absolutely mental. What did you think about it, Nathan?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's. I remember when I initially watched John Wick years ago. I'd sort of heard about it. I think I was on holiday somewhere, and I was in Spain, and it happened to be on Spanish Netflix. And I thought, I'll just watch this. I've heard something about it. It'll probably be shit. And I thought, bloody hell, this is like a new type of action movie. And I got the same reaction watching this film when I first, that first scene when they're in the apartment. You're just like, what the fuck is going on? How's this guy being so cool and kicking this guy's arse? But it was. Frank Grillo's I've loved him in most of the stuff he's been in, I'll be honest with you. I know he's done some shockers of films, but he's always very good in them, I think. And he's a stacked guy, and he plays that sort of martial arts type thing really well. Even you go back to with his role in the Marvel films, and then I thought he was brilliant in Warrior with Tom Hardy and that. But yeah, I think you told me to watch this. I watched it, and I think I said to you straight away, it's my jam.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I love films like I love sciencey films, and I also love action films like over the top action, and I love the dynamic of time travel films like Groundhog Day esque stuff. This just amalgamates everything really perfectly. So you've got the science element of which is Frank Grillo's ex-wife, wasn't it? I believe.
I'm not sure if it was ex-wife, ex-partner, or something.
Ex-partner, someone along that, who's got a kid too. She's a scientist. She messes up with something and ends up every single day. Constantly repeats itself, but every single time it repeats himself, he has to die, and he's dying more brutally, and over the top every single time. I honestly, I'm going to keep this completely spoiler free. It'd be quite hard to spoil, but the film is an absolute delight to watch. One of the first things I did say to Nathan, that message when you watch it, is like, it took me a little while to get into it because of the use of CGI. But you understand and you get over it very, very quickly when you realize what type of film you're watching. The CGI, it seems a little bit kind of slightly cheap, but it's just the kind of way that it's done. I don't know how it's actually filmed. I'd probably like to look at this myself, just with my own knowledge, and see what they used to film this, because it's very, very high quality and it looks very crystal clean. And sometimes when you do that with CGI, the CGI looks cheap, and that can kind of...
There must be some green screen in there. I imagine there'll be some sort of, like implant. The bit at the start when there must be some implanted explosives or something with that helicopter.
Yeah.
As well, surely. But yeah, no, just it was what's her name? Naomi Watts, wasn't it? Played the wife.
She's got an Oscar winner in it as well. You know what I mean?
The other thing I thought was quite often in these films they introduce the sort of a child character in it as a sort of like moral grounding to give the character a bit of a sort of heart and stuff like that. And quite often it ruins these sort of films. And a bit like in John Wick when they had the thing with the dog as well. When you think that's going to ruin that film, and both of those films they didn't at all. It really added to it. But yeah, and my favorite character is the Asian girl. What was her name?
Oh no, I forgot her name.
Kwon Jin, something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to Google it because it's the funniest line ever.
Kwon Jin did this.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to have to double check what her name is. I'm on IMDb anyway.
I can't remember, but she was.
I looked at her name.
The sort of the sequence of knife fights that he has with her is just amazing. It's like Kill Bill level, knife fights. Even the way that's shot in that sort of room, it's a bit like the end of Kill Bill 1. That's sort of the way they shot that.
It kind of steps up.
But Or Kick-Ass even, yeah.
Guan Jin.
Well, I was close.
Or Guan Yin, sorry.
I am Guan Yin. Guan Yin did this.
I am Guan Yin. And Guan Yin has done this.
Yeah. It's absolutely hilarious. It's just obviously, I mean, this is one of the levels. This is also what's called boss level. It's one of the levels of the people he has to kind of get through to try and get to the boss. Mm-hmm. And it sounds as if it is a computer game, but it isn't really a computer game. Please watch it. You'll understand exactly what I mean by that.
It's a bit Scott Pilgrim, isn't it?
It is a bit Scott Pilgrim, yeah. So if you like any of these films that we're mentioning in this, watch it, because if you like any of the films we're mentioning, you'll probably enjoy this film. Although it is quite brutal, obviously. I think it's got to be an 18 because it is absolutely over the top.
I'm sure it is. I was quite intrigued by sort of Mel Gibson in it as well, because it's quite a small part for him. Because most of the films he does, even the crapper films he does, he tends to be quite a main part. And although he's obviously the main bad guy, he's not in it that much. And he's quite understated for a lot of it, which is not like him as well. So I quite enjoyed that. And I forget the name of the guy that played his bodyguard. He's a comedian, and he was in quite a lot of like TV shows and stuff like that. And I thought he was fantastic in it as well. You know the guy I mean, the bigger guy.
I know who you mean. Actually, I don't recognise him, but I know who you mean. I've seen the film.
I've seen a few things. And like I said to you, my favourite thing is the fact that the big evil conglomerate is called Die Now.
Yeah, it's spelled D-Y-N-O-W.
That's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
It's such a clever film. And I think one of the things for me is, because we've seen so many movies like Groundhog Day and even Palm Springs, a recent one where it's a lot of repetition, there's a lot of the stuff that you expect to happen that you've seen in these movies, and then when he obviously goes to do them and then they don't work out, but it's never the way you think it's going to go. I think there's a bit when he's trying to get in the car. He's trying to get into the company's car park with the car, and I can't remember what happens, but I remember actually pissing myself laughing because it was nowhere near what I thought was actually going to happen, and I was absolutely howling. And they do this quite a lot of times. It takes you just slightly off of what you think was going to happen, which is, I think, is one of the kind of the fresh takes on the film. Yeah,
it's more along the lines of the Tom Cruise one. I was going to say Live, Die, Repeat, but that's what it was. That's what it's supposed to be called. Why can't I remember it? Day After Tomorrow. No.
Oh no, that's a Roland Emmerich.
Yeah.
I keep going back to Live, Die, Repeat because it's the name it should have been.
Anyway,
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, yeah. It's more along like action along those lines than one of the other repeating day type things. You know, but yeah. I mean, it seems this sort of genre seems to be getting a bit of a resurgence. Obviously, you had Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, which are crap but pretty good movies. I enjoyed both of them.
Yeah, I enjoyed both of them as well.
Palm Springs, which is phenomenal, and then this now. So I think it's sort of one of these things that crops up every now and again. A few of these sort of films have a little turn, and I think if they carry on making things like this, then I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm sad we never actually did a review. Make the review at some point in the future of Palm Springs. Palm Springs
it's coming out on Amazon Prime next week, I think.
There you go. A perfect opportunity. So in the next week or so, you could see an episode from us talking about Palm Springs, and that's probably going to be quite a long episode because there's a lot to talk about in that. There's so many.
Watching that 3 times before we do the review of it.
I watched it. I think I watched it 2 or 3 times. Actually, one of the very, very few movies I put back on again. But it's the Lord God of Andy Samberg. I certainly worship him.
What's the name of the girl in it? I always forget her name.
Terrible to remember her name when they did the review for.
It's like an Italian sounding name, isn't it?
Minetti.
Something like that, yeah. I love her. Like that. She's really good.
Yeah, she's very funny as well. I really hope to see her in more stuff.
Christina Miletti.
Christina Miletti. That's it. I think so. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll pop up. That's right. One of the other things I've got to say about I kind of enjoyed about this film was the science. I enjoyed the fact that they've managed to fling a little bit of historical accuracy and mythology, but also added it into science and made the wee twist on it. So you didn't have it for no reason, but you had a good little kind of line of direction of what they were going with.
I think plus the fact they actually basically explained what was happening or they gave you a very good idea of what was happening quite early on in the film. And quite often with these films, you're quite far in before you understand why they're repeating the same day. Whereas this was like quite soon you find out that she's working on this thing, and then you realise, oh, this is whatever she's working on has caused this to happen. And it's within the first like half an hour or so that you find this out, I think. So I think that's quite interesting. That and even the way that are we doing spoilers or not doing spoilers? Are we? I can't say.
We won't do a spoiler. We won't do a spoiler. We'll keep this completely spoiler free.
Okay, ignore what I'm going to say, or just bleep me out when I'm talking.
Beep 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 beep.
Yeah. Spoiler.
I know. We'll keep this actually spoiler free because I think people this is probably one of the slow burner films. It'll take a while for people to watch it. It wasn't a big hit.
It's one of these things you can imagine in about 5 years being back in the days when we had DVDs and cassettes, no one watched it at the time, but in a few years' time, everyone will watch it. I think it's amazing, or it'll get rebooted and remade or something. But I mean, we're as guilty of that as most. Well, you've now got my DVD collection, so you'll understand what I mean about films no one's ever seen.
Yeah, I sat and he dropped off his DVDs because Nathan's moving away for a bit, and he dropped off his DVDs. I didn't want to take them down. And the DJ containers we used to carry out in DVDs, like 4 of them were just packed with just films that I'd never even heard. I didn't even hear it. I was scanning through and going, nope. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why we have Nathan on our team.
Yeah, no, boss level, big yes. I mean, they never really explain why it was called boss level at any point.
I think that's probably.
It did feel like a computer game. It was like doing levels, wasn't it, to get his way up to it? So I suppose it does make sense a bit.
No. It's just the step you had to get past every assassin, I think, didn't you? One by one.
It'd be a great computer game. I'd play that.
It actually would. That would be a really interesting game. I think it's probably didn't take enough money to justify making a game, but
probably not.
If any developers are out there, we'd play it. So you've got 20 quid out of it.
No, but free to play. Come on.
Just have the guy develop a game just for Geekified.
Just put skins in the game. We'll buy them all.
Yeah, probably Fortnite players here. I know. Well, yeah, that was boss level out of 10. We're doing out of 10 Geekified.
8, 9, 8.5.
Oh, 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's just 8, so I'm going with 8. So 8 out of 10 Geekified and an 8 and an 8.5. That's
very
high.
Unusual. It's very unusual that I'm the sort of optimistic person in the conversation, and it's happened in 2 films in a row now. I
know. Usually the first thing out of Nathan's mouth is it's pish. Pish. Like, did you enjoy it, Nathan? It's pish. It's like Brian Cox in Succession. Fuck off.
Oh, fuck off.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm. The thing is, I would say I'm discerning, but I'm not really. I just watch anything. But a lot of it is pish. But yeah, this was not pish.
Yeah, this is one of the things that sadly I think a lot of people are going to look at and think was pish, and it's absolutely not. This should have been a big cinema release. It should have had critics raving about it, but you've got 2 critics here raving about it and telling you to go and watch it. So if you see it anywhere, wherever you see it on whatever channel platform it ends up landing on, because it'll probably get shipped about, watch it. Highly recommend, and come back to us, because this hasn't been a spoiler review, and tell us what you thought. We'd love to hear what you thought of it, because it's very, very high rating from myself and Nathan here. So enjoy. So thank you very much for joining us, Nathan.
Cheers.
And thank you from me. We can do this all day.